that happens.
Okay. Okay, so why don't you just start by explaining your project and explain it and talk about it. It just sounds so cool.
Okay. Now, what I've done is I've switched the screen so that I'm sharing my screen and presenting to everybody. So
Yep.
your screen, you should be able to see the same thing that
Yes, I can.
Now, one of the neat tools about running a Google slide within a Google Hangout is that you can include the audience tool now. Can you see the little Google bar across the top? It says goo.gl/slides. Is that showing up on your screen?
No. No. What? Say that again.
It's a little gray rectangular bar across the top, above where it says real world communication. It says ask a question.
Okay, I see ask a question. Sorry.
Yeah, there's
I see
that link right beside it where it says goo.gl.
Yes.
If you grab that link and paste it into another tab, you should be able to ask questions in there directly
Are you
related
doing
to the
something
presentation.
right now?
What's that? Oh, did my screen just switch?
Your screen just froze.
Oh, okay. Let me switch back.
You're not presenting anymore.
Yep. I think it's because what I did is I was going into another tab, and when I switched tabs through to show you what I was talking about, I moved my presentation.
Can you go back to the presentation screen?
Yep. I'm going to do that right now. Okay. All right.
Okay, so what I was looking for, I see the ask a question at Google Slides and then 4NQ. So what would I normally do?
Okay, so what you can do is in your Chrome browser, open up another tab, and then you can copy and paste goo.gl/slides/4NQXB2.
Okay, so hold on a sec. I don't have browser tabs available. Like I'm trying to figure it. I'm seeing your tabs, right? Google Innovator Video Plan Copy Question.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing, I'm in Chrome, but I don't have any. So say I should open up a new window?
Yeah, try and open a new window. See what that does.
Okay. All right. So, but I can't copy that link.
Okay.
So you would need to put it in the chat. So
I can do that too.
So I or people could I wonder if that would open a new tab if you put it in there.
It's in the group chat now. Can you see the group chat side?
Not, yeah, it's not a link. It's not a linkable. I've been talking too long this morning. It's not a linkable. It's not a link.
Okay, highlight, copy it, and then you can paste it into a new window.
It's pasted. I've got ask a question. So and where does that? Where is that? If I were to ask a question, here's my question.
I have, so when you open up a Google slideshow, you get speaker notes and you get the presentation screen. So you see the presentation screen, but I have my speaker notes on my side screen too.
Okay.
And I can see the audience questions when they come in, as well as my speaker notes.
So if I enter this is my question.
Where does this show up? Yeah, I have it right now up on my screen.
So it's for the presenter who gets to see that question.
Yep. So it's a back channel way of directing how and what you're saying to your audience and meeting your audience's needs.
As opposed to looking to the group chat.
That's right. Well, you can do that too. That side chat bar, the back channel chat, is usually for people who are watching, or it may not be directly linked to the presentation. My students use that side chat all the time. But I use the audience tool questions to direct the bigger picture. I can pick and choose which questions to really go with. Sometimes we use the text chat for the students to help each other answer questions that they might have too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of side conversation that goes on. So this is directly sending you or the presenter a question.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of cool that way.
Yeah, it is. It is. I can see the value of both of them.
Hmm.
And okay, so I'm going to just let you keep going. I'll just keep learning.
Oh, well, there isn't much to learn. Like I honestly, I saw your project that you're running coast to coast to coast, and I was so impressed. And Google Innovators have established a new project available. So for us to apply to, applications are going to close in a couple days. And I've been wrapping it up for the last month. But what I'm trying to do is improve communication throughout Canada. And creating this Google application also means that the way I'm presenting it or creating it means that anybody can use it anywhere in the world. But I'd like to say it's in honor of Canada's 150th anniversary, in support of Aboriginal communities in remote areas throughout Canada, and it's for quality education for all, one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We studied it last year in my grade 6 class just after they released it, and I want it to be a part of our program throughout the year again this year.
So when did you start doing this? When did you start putting this together?
I only started this mid-July, and I didn't start this in an organized fashion. The first thing I did was I thought, okay, at my school, we don't have enough computers. There are a lot of classes, a lot of kids who have great ideas and would like to use tech, but there are barriers in the way of them having access to it right away when they need it. They have to sign up for going to a computer lab or borrow devices that other classes are already using. They didn't have it at the tips of their fingers when they needed them.
Absolutely.
So I Google searched, where can I get them? Computers for Schools. It's a common name that we know in Canada and the US. I put in an application, asked my principal, said, is it okay for us to do this? And the application went through. I heard back from them at the beginning of July. And she said, sure, you can have 40 computers. And I said, can I have 100 more? She said, yeah, how many more would you like?
Who is this Computers for Schools?
Computers for Schools is, let me see if I can, I'm going to put the link up for you.
Yep.
Actually, I'm just going to toggle through some slides and I'll get you that link in one sec.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't need it right this instant.
Okay, it is, they call them RCT now, Renewed Computer Technology.
Okay.
But it's still a subsidiary of Computers for Schools. It's where different corporations send tech that's out of date, out of warranty, they don't need. They refurbish it, and they offer a very low-end 2 gigabyte of RAM tower with monitors, if they have them, keyboards and mice.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, I'd love the low-end ones, whatever you can give me for free. And the reason I asked specifically for those is because I knew no one else wanted them, so I had a feeling they'd have a lot kicking around.
Right.
So I got them. They're great. Oh, by the way, this is me.
That's when I saw your picture and I thought, oh, you look familiar. I'm sure I've seen you at one of the conferences.
Yeah, we've done some talks about flight and robotics. I presented at ISTE in last June remotely. We were talking about drone application in class.
Oh, I actually tweeted something last June or July. It was the end of June. A school in Montreal had put up a drone picture of their school with the area around it. And I said, that takes our project to a whole new level.
Oh,
it's all about the community around the school, right? It's not about the school itself. So we'll have to talk about that later.
It's amazing, yeah.
So learning stuff for kids. If I teach geography, well, I don't teach, I've retired, but I taught geography, and I've always believed if we could take the kids up in the air, you wouldn't have to teach much.
That's true.
It just explains itself, you know, and the questions that start coming are just, so, okay, so.
The irony of what you said and taking things up in the air, that's Google Loon's project.
Okay.
I'll talk about that in a sec too.
Yeah, okay.
So our CTO, Computers for Schools, okayed the donation, and they contacted me saying, okay, we've got them. They're ready to go. Come pick them up. So how many? 7, 8 trips later with my SUV, and I have all the computers. I picked them up there at home in my basement.
Oh my goodness.
My wife and kids helped,
Oh
and I've been working with Mike Doyu. He's another teacher with Peel.
yeah.
And Neil Lyons, and we've been working on new ways to take old computers, re-image them so that they run faster on our networks. So we've been using something called Lubuntu. Lubuntu. It's a Linux-based operating system.
Okay.
And we were creating boot disks so that we would take the old towers and laptops that they were going to throw away or send out to recycle.
Yep.
We would hang on to them, re-image them so that they were running a Linux-based system, which is extremely fast
Okay.
and light. It doesn't lag like the Windows-based systems do.
Yeah.
And we put them back in the classroom again.
Okay.
So we've honestly refurbished at least 500 devices, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in Peel. This is just a side project that we've been doing just for fun. But that's the foundation of why.
Like when you open up a computer that's running on Linux, what
does it look like?
does it look the same? Is it a browser? Like is it all the same or?
Basically, yeah. Have you ever seen a Chromebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so the image is very similar to a Chromebook's image because what Cub Linux is the one that I'm using now. It's actually an upgrade of Lubuntu, and the image is so much like a Google Chrome or a Chromebook image. It's beautiful, easy for the kids to commandeer, work through, and it has Chromixium, which is like the Chrome browser.
Okay.
So it's going to be perfect for running a Gaphy system in your classroom.
What's that?
So with Google Docs.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Sheets. Yeah, everything. It's just easier for the kids to do their work. We're going to be using Google Classroom again this year too. So all of this is leading up.
Here, like we never jumped into Google here, but I believe it's now becoming available. So because I retired a couple years ago, I don't have any background in Google Classroom. I never got into it. So, I mean, I know what it is, but I don't have all those, years of background using it knowledge.
The best part is you don't need it. You don't need the years of experience. It's so easy to use. They're streamlining everything for teachers that are just coming into it to have fun with it with the kids. It's so simple.
Okay. So you got to that point. You finished all these computers.
Yeah, so we've got lots of computers. We want to make things more affordable, easy access for everybody. So here's the big plan. I just want to start small. I brought 6 in today into my classroom, and I'm going to adjust the images and then start moving some of them into other classrooms who the teachers have told me, we'd love to have a couple more in our class so our kids can work together in teams and build their projects or just do research as a team rather than just sticking to a 10-year-old textbook. So they're happy. They're going to be getting them. But the kicker is that my homeroom kids are going to be re-imaging, installing, and repairing the devices in the other classrooms. So that sense of stewardship is going to be huge.
And this is something that grade 6 kids are able to do.
Oh, unbelievably, yes. My 9-year-old helped me with some of the install earlier today, and my 5-year-old was unboxing monitors. So yeah, any kid can do this with the right coaching.
Yeah.
It's about helping others. Yeah.
Yes. So, all right, that's just crazy.
So this is the small scale, but the big scale would be this. So what it comes down to is we would re-image computers that we acquire from businesses that were going to be thrown away, put on the Cub Linux system. The only expense would be buying USB Wi-Fi adapters. And that would be immediate for us just to get them into the classroom so they work. So the USB Wi-Fi adapter would be to put a tower onto the wireless network rather than having to plug into an Ethernet network.
Okay, so just because I'm trying to understand this, so you've got computers and putting a USB Wi-Fi whatever
An adapter, it's just a USB plug with an
Adapter.
antenna on it. Yeah,
So that makes it a Wi-Fi receiver?
exactly. It'll take that tower that was once hardwired into an Ethernet network, so it can then broadcast on a wireless network and receive data data wirelessly.
Okay, so the place still needs to have a Wi-Fi server?
You got it. And that's where the Google Loon project comes in. It's a
Okay.
beautiful system because, I mean, imagine the billions of dollars required to run all of the fiber optics or the wired networks.
Yeah. I've been talking to Orion, and I've been talking to people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing some research as far as politically what's going on, and we have amazing support from the Liberal governments federally to prevent network monopolization by Bell and Rogers. They want to open the playing field and allow other companies in to use that shared network that Bell and Rogers predominantly have had access to. So what I'm hoping is that they will favorably allow Google to come into Canada.
Oh, that's what you meant by your comment.
Yeah, and run some Google Loon projects north where they send balloons into the upper stratosphere to establish a wireless network. So they'll bounce signals from the wired network closest to where the loons are launched. Then the balloons will share the network using lasers between the balloons and send it down to receivers in Nunavut.
Yeah.
Where there is the network's only a 2G.
Yeah.
But this would increase the bandwidth to a 4G network, allowing them video feed that would work well. And then my students would love to work with kids in the north and teachers in the north.
Well, yeah. That's one of the expectations for this project that we know that we're going to have to manage, because teachers who see this project just think they're going to be able to talk to all kinds of people. And for many, many reasons they're not. So that is an expectation that we're talking about how we'll manage and decrease teachers and how we'll manage it. So we're looking to, I don't know whether you read the detailed stuff, but we're looking to have, I'm looking for 13, 15 national webcasts from specific places where we can make sure that there's at least one school in this particular area that has access to enough broadband to do a webcast. And if not, we're going to have them make a video and broadcast their video or something. But that's the whole problem. I mean, you've hit it right on the head. They don't have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But I have never heard of Google this Project Loon, so that's a very interesting concept.
Oh, it's fantastic. They ran pilots in New Zealand too. It's a beautiful idea.
Wow, like that's great. I'm thinking of it of some of the things that we're doing, and I mean I'm just thinking, wow, that's it'll be very interesting to see. So who controls networking in the sky? Like who controls? Is it that a government thing that controls Bell and Rogers, or how do the politics work?
That doesn't exist yet. So this is all new ground because they haven't even allowed Google into Canada.
Oh.
So Google Fi hasn't even been allowed to be used, where they just wanted to piggyback off of the current wired networks, rather than thought about the Project Loon. This is something brand new that I'm hoping that they'll try because it will support education everywhere.
So who do you need to get permission from? That's kind of where I'm going, is where does the permissions have to happen before Google's allowed in to do that?
Well, funny thing that you say that, because there was, let me see if I can find him. Navdeep Bains. So I'm just going to put in his Twitter handle. Navdeep Bains is, I can't remember if he's the chair of, I think it's like an oversight committee as an MP for technology implementation and regulations.
I know that name. Let me just.
He's a local MP in Mississauga.
Okay, so he's from your area, Peel. So that is.
Yeah.
Now, do you know for a fact that this particular Twitter is his?
Yeah. Yes. I'm just going to double check that he doesn't have more than one.
It doesn't identify, this one doesn't identify anything.
Oh, sorry. There's an S. My mistake. Yeah. Navdeep, capital S, capital B-A-I-N-S.
Okay, because that one doesn't quite look like.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so let me just change this and try this one. Yeah, that one looks. Okay, so. Okay,
now,
so no, that's that
his
guy.
name came up.
Oh, that guy. I've been doing lots with that guy, watching. Yes.
Yeah, I saw some. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I've tweeted out a number of things that he's done, places he's been, and he's on my radar.
His mission seems the same as ours, which is why I'm hoping he can get on board with us and try and help push the project.
Ha ha ha. And is he your MP?
He's not my personal MP, but
okay.
He's, because I live in Brampton, Ontario. Mississauga is just south of us.
Is your school?
No, because still the school's in Brampton.
Okay, right. Okay. Anyway, that is okay. So that's why I know who that is.
Yeah, he may be an MP that could help. There is another person. His name is Thomas Moore.
Is he the guy from up north?
Thomas Moore is the general manager of the Loon project.
Oh, okay.
He was just hired last week.
Okay, no, okay.
His company was acquired by Google. As I'm doing research, I'm learning more and more about this, about who would be important to ask for help. And I've been using Twitter to try and send out feelers to let them know different things that I'm working on. And I've established a little timeline that I thought might work, but again, everything is just rough. Like,
can you just press a pause for a second? Just a second. My other sister, I'll have to tell you. I just want to speak to her really quickly, and then I'll. I'm in the middle of a call. Can I give you a call back in a few minutes? Or do you want?
Can you click on your image in the bottom corner and unmute your?
Okay, so that it would have been fine for you to listen. I would never have done it if it wasn't. That was my sister in Brantford. Justice Murray Sinclair from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is speaking in Brantford on Tuesday the 13th.
Oh.
September for $20. So I had phoned her this morning and said, I've bought 4 tickets. I want to come and stay at your house. I know her husband will want to go, but she doesn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you might, like I know it's the second week of school. But where I went from that was, the reason I was late was that my 11 o'clock talking with Ron Canuel from the Canadian Education Association, he he's agreed to pay the Canadian Education Association is going to allow me to go to their Indigenous Schools First Conference at the beginning of October, mostly for my learning, but to represent the project. And one of the first things he said was, I will introduce you to Paul Martin. And as you were talking, I was thinking, I'll be mentioning this to Paul Martin.
That's awesome.
Be mentioning, because I'm getting in touch with some other pretty big people. So that's why I thought I want to talk to you right away. And I want to, because this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to find creative ways of supporting the North and remote communities being able to participate in our project. But really, I mean, that means being able to connect with kids across Canada.
Definitely.
So, I haven't gotten, like, I got a huge list of names from Ron this morning that I'm now going to start looking at, but I would want to go and talk with Navdeep Bains.
Yeah.
And I would, like, if we could get a thing, I would want to go and talk with him jointly. So I still have to talk. I've been talking with Dino Miele of iHub, and he has put us in touch with the Orion folks in terms of Northern Ontario, but the Orion folks are getting us in touch with their comparable education research network. Like each province has one.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of connections here that we could make. This is
beautiful. Wow.
I'm not sure about the whole issue of getting Google in. That's a whole different issue, though. Like,
but that would be necessary to keep costs down.
Absolutely. But so why hasn't Google been allowed in?
I think that with Navdeep Bain's support, he's going to start allowing them through to make networks more affordable for everybody. That's one of his mandates. From what I've seen in his work, he really wants that to happen. So
here's something that Ron just told me that I think you would have better success at. I think that you should get in touch with him through what Ron said is it's far easier to reach a national politician through their constituency office than to try to do anything through Ottawa or their national. So he said, like, I'm getting in touch with Justin Trudeau and a few others, and he said, go through their constituency. And when he calls into his constituency, he'll be asking, what's up, and you have a far better chance that something will be mentioned to him. So I think, given that you're from that area, even if, is there anyone who you can work with that's from his Mississauga Malton constituency?
Well, the school board I work with is in Mississauga, the central board office.
Right. So I think just that's it alone. But if you could get a meeting with him, I would come down and come to it, as long as it's not when I'm going to this Vancouver conference, because both projects I could add the Orion section of what I've been talking with them about, and I think that would be a very, very strong. Now, getting a meeting with him, I don't know when he's in Ottawa, like how often he's in his constituency, but I haven't looked at the fall schedule for the, what do you call it, Parliament, whatever. I don't know how they work. I don't know how often they're, but yeah.
I can try. That's the best I can do.
Been on my radar of who to talk to in terms of that side of things.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I agree with that.
But because you're from down there in that board, you would be the one who would get faster response than I would.
Well, I'll try, and I'll try and use some of. I have some good friends involved in the school board media.
Yes.
And I'll try and discuss this with them. I've already shown them the project, and I've shown some of my ideas to CTV News. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get the support we need to make this work.
Yeah. That's what we're doing. Just I want to come back to all of this, but we're going to be having a brainstorm session about the different ways that we can boy, my brain is starting to fry. The different ways that we can support communities in the North to apply for funds to help even if it's as simple as getting computers, let alone the infrastructure for networking, but where our project can be a support for them getting resources that they need, as opposed
Absolutely.
to, you're following me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this would be another way that, like, the need also needs to come from them, that needs to come from all different sides. And I can see that this would be, we're stronger together.
For sure. And one thing that I noticed too, when I picked up the computers from Computers for Schools, I said, like, I discussed briefly with them that I was considering a project in Nunavut.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, we only provide computers for Ontarians. So I thought, okay, that means that this needs to be made bigger. So I'm going to look for access to more tech from private industry, from companies.
Well, what I will do is I'm talking, I have to, our project thing has to be into Canada 150 by Wednesday. And the last two people I need to talk to are, well, I can probably do it all through Dina Miele of iHub. iHub and the District School Board of Niagara have committed $45,000 of in-kind support.
Wow.
And Dino seems to have the finger on the pulse of all kinds of connections. And I am going to mention this to him, and he will probably want to talk to you about this.
Okay.
As he one of the things that we're in the discussion about is whether he's going to go ahead and contact CompuGen, and that's what they do, is refurbish computers and provide them.
Yep.
And like, I don't know anything about them. We have put some kind of pauses on wanting to, like, we've said clearly to Dino that we have avoided heavy duty corporate involvement in the Canada Kids Guide to Canada project for a number of reasons, mostly political, obviously not financial, because people are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, people are going to want to contribute to this, but I don't want them using our project to just further their own agendas if their agendas are not really something that we support. So, and I really like the fact that our project is so totally teacher driven.
Yep.
There's a real beauty to that I really want to honor and continue. So anyways, I will talk with Dino. With your permission, I will share this with him and tell him that he needs to talk to you. He needs to hear from you.
I'm available anytime.
I would bet that he would start helping you make connections.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, that would be a really cool thing. Oh my goodness, my phone. Okay, I am going to really have to take this call.
No worries.
Can
it's
you?
been nice chatting with you.
No, I won't. I'm not done. I have this
Oh.
question. Can you wait a few minutes?
Yeah, no problem.
This one's about my mother.
Okay. Okay, so while Kathy's on her call, I just wanted to reiterate the tech that I'm considering that I think is important to be used when setting up cheap, affordable access to technology for anybody. So the first and foremost, the operating system. I advise not using Windows only because the Linux-based Cub system is actually cheap, it's free, and it's easy to run. It runs a lot like a Chromebook. And the USB wireless adapters, you can get them for under $7 from Amazon. Rufus is a free USB boot tool that I use to make the Cub Linux USB boot keys. So the only cost really are the USB keys and the wireless adapters. Everything else is free. Sorry, Kathy, your mic is muted. I didn't know if you were, you're done your call.
Yes.
There you go.
So I wonder if there's somewhere that we can find a provider who would support providing the Rufus and the adapters, the antenna wireless adapters.
That would be awesome. Currently, at my local project on the smaller scale, my principal has said that he will buy 70 USB wireless adapters for the computers I'm bringing into the school. So he's in full support of what we're doing.
How much, for example, do they cost?
They're $7 including shipping.
Okay, that's just good information to know. And the Rufus?
Oh, that everything else is basically free. It's just a USB keys. So I mean, you can do it. I mean, I can create a boot disk on a 4 gig key.
Oh, okay.
I can get 3 4 gig keys for about $13. So
Okay.
they're relatively cheap. The whole package of a brand new or a functional computer in a classroom is under $20.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it works great. The Cub Linux operating system is fantastic.
So what would happen if it went to Inuvik? You would need someone trained in knowing how to take care of them there?
We would help train them.
Yes.
Once I've got one contact. Her name is Lauren. Actually, I got to send you that information too. I'm going to put it into the side group chat.
Okay.
I was presenting at a conference in Toronto at the beginning of July, and she came down from Nunavut just for the conference. She was doing a course in Toronto too.
I wonder if it's the same one that we talked to. I wonder, there was a woman from Nunavut who was taking a course with Brenda Sherry on
It's
technology.
the same woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Lauren
Yeah,
Town.
that's right, Lauren Town.
So
That's
she's
hilarious.
connected with me, and we've been working on this, and she's got some support up north with with council.
Yep.
They'd like to go ahead with this project. So she's trying to get some free transport with the airline there
Yes.
for shipping the computers.
Yep.
So I mean, it's fantastic. I love having somebody on site, and I can help work with her on setting things up too. My students.
What I love is that the students are able to do some of the actual work and training. Like, that is what I am all about. So just as a separate thing, have you looked and read about the Walk With Me project for out of Timmins?
No, I haven't. That's something I'm gonna have to look up.
Melissa Lavoie. It is a high school project, but there's so many crossovers and so much. She's not so much about setting up infrastructure, but it is all about the high school kids she's working with going on reserves, going and using 360-degree cameras and taking video of their pictures of their communities and putting it on Street View. Like,
oh wow!
It's just, yeah. And then Google's all interested in it because that application could be used all around the world in remote communities, right?
Absolutely.
People, like, that is just, and so like there's just so much crossover and so much.
I have seen this project.
Okay.
I've seen parts of, yes, it looks familiar. I can't find Melissa's contact on Twitter though.
Have I spelled it wrong?
There may be something different.
Yeah, let me just, she'll come up right away on mine. Okay, so, yep. So let me just go into my messages because I've got a message from her. Yeah. Oh, it must be in my own email. I'm in the okay, let me just switch to my other Google. I was on talking to somewhere in the United States trying to separate my two Google accounts. And the crossover causes problems.
Yeah, with school accounts for sure.
Okay, she just sent me a message like yesterday, so I know that.
Grad student educator, is she from Timmins?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I found her. She's a VP library curator. Yeah, I got her.
Okay, so what's her Twitter handle?
The Melissa, it's not S's, they're Z's.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And that's why she wasn't coming up. There she is, Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure because Melissa was taken. Yeah, that's her.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else?
Oh, okay. So let me kind of just see if I've got this. as long as there's a source of refurbished computers,
Yep.
you and your students and whoever are re-imaging them. And is that part called Cub Linux?
Cub Linux is the new operating system. So
Okay.
we find that Windows, and Windows Lite too, any version of Windows seems to be running very slowly on our
Yes.
networks.
Okay.
So we're taking that operating system off and putting on Cub Linux.
And that's something grade 6 kids can do?
It's so easy. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. So then once the refurbished computer is re-imaged, then if it was going to somewhere remotely, it would need a copy of the operating system in case something went wrong. And
I can send some extra USB keys with the operating system on them so that they can re-image them if they need to, but they shouldn't need to.
right, but just kind of, I'm trying to kind of really understand what you're proposing. And then the wireless adapters, each one needs one of those in order to pull the Wi-Fi signal in.
That's only if it's a tower. Now in Peel, we have a rule where if you have old out of warranty PC towers, they can't be used anywhere except for the hardwired networks for security reasons. So what we've done is, there's an exception. They can be put onto the wireless network. So because of that exception for security, we had to buy the USB adapters to put those towers onto the wireless network because we didn't want to hardwire them anymore.
Okay, I don't think technologically I totally understand that.
Okay, so with the towers, if they're running the Windows system and they've got the original operating system, the board believes they're secure.
Yeah.
And that according to one of their policies and their rules, they said it's secure the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to play with the out of warranty computers and put a Linux operating system on, great. But it can't go onto our hardwired networks because of security risks.
It can't go onto your hardwired networks. So
Right.
that means it can't be plugged into the network.
Exactly. They said because it's a Linux system for security, if you want to put it onto the network, you're going to have to do it via wireless.
Right.
So we had to get those Wi-Fi cards or the adapters.
So if you have one in your school, you're pulling the Wi-Fi signal from your router in your school, and each individual computer is receiving it.
That's right. So we're taking those towers off the wired, putting them onto the wireless.
Okay.
So I'm following the board rules to do that.
Okay, that's helpful for me to understand. But in the north or remote Ontario, wherever, they still need a source of the signal, and that's where the Loon for All comes in.
Exactly. So they may already have a wired network that's okay. It's a 2G network. And technically, they can do some Google app work with that. The document work, it's not as taxing. It's only when they get into the video work or documentaries that the streaming causes issues. So, but regardless, they can put those towers onto wireless networks that are pre-existing. Exactly. I would still advise to stick with the Peel policy. They've got that rule in place for a reason, to put those towers on the wireless networks.
Yes, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense anywhere for security. But I'm just trying to really understand the framework that you've got here. And I'm thinking up north because we're totally different down here. So up north, if there was a wireless network in a hospital, medical center, or community center, or whatever a place might have, a reserve might have, then could the kids go there and pull a signal in?
If they have free access to use that wireless network, yes. But what I'm thinking is that when the Google Loons are launched, what they're going to do is they'll hardwire like mini satellite dishes where the hardwired network exists. So
yes, but I'm thinking without the Loon at this point. Because I don't think for our purposes next winter, I don't think a lot of this will happen in that amount of time. I'm just picturing the framework. The framework is still there. The Loon thing is just beautiful. I mean, that's what sends the signal, and then they don't have to have any other. I mean, there are places that don't have any, right? Yeah. So then that would provide the infrastructure that they would then be able to get a signal from the Loon balloons.
Yeah, well, they can go. They have a 100-kilometer range from balloon to balloon.
Okay, that's far.
I think it's pretty far. And
Well,
I
it's
mean,
probably not far when you think of northern distances.
no, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking now about commercializing the product. Like it's viable enough that they can start selling it and people can start using it in remote locations.
So do they, I mean, not knowing anything about balloons, how do they get one to stay in place?
It
Like
doesn't. They're always moving.
they're always moving.
Yeah, so they're always moving and they're always piggybacking signals off of each other and broadcasting down.
And how high up are they?
Now that I don't know, but I read something that they're able to stay in the air almost 200 days for now without falling, without coming down. So they're still working on getting it to stay
Yeah.
up in the air as long as possible.
Yes. Yes.
But I
Okay,
just,
so
yeah,
because you understand this, I'm going to go to my project now.
yep,
Okay. So in the north, say there is no Wi-Fi, but if there's no Wi-Fi, there still could be a cell tower. Not a tower, but like a cell signal, right?
yes.
Is that right? So someone can be getting a cell signal from either. Now, would that only be Bell and Rogers, or like
Well,
is
it depends. Usually they're the main lines, and then other companies will piggyback their signals off of them. I think that's how it works.
okay? So I'm picturing a teacher on a reserve where there is no Wi-Fi now. They don't
Okay,
have Wi-Fi.
I'll tell you how I started because I
Okay.
started working in schools that had no Wi-Fi.
Yes.
But I was desperate to have Wi-Fi networks in my class so that kids that brought in their own devices could use them.
Right.
So the easiest, cheapest solution I could find was to buy a MacBook computer.
Mm-hmm.
You probably think, but that's so expensive. But when you hardwire it, it will broadcast a Wi-Fi bubble. You can set it up to broadcast its own Wi-Fi bubble in a classroom. In the very first few years, I broadcast a Wi-Fi bubble for 2 classrooms that were side by side. And we had 50 users running off my one Wi-Fi card.
So hold on a second. Let me just think that through. So here's my MacBook Pro right here.
You plug
So
it
what
in.
would I do?
So plug it into a regular Ethernet connection, a hardwired connection.
Okay.
And then you can adjust the sharing settings of the network so that it will broadcast that hardwired signal into a wireless signal. So other devices that are wireless around you can connect to your computer and use the same network.
Okay, so hardwire the laptop to get a signal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, but it's still not what I'm looking for. I'm still in my picture in my mind is a teacher in a school where there is no, they have self-service.
They only have cell service. They don't have a hardwired service.
No, there's nothing there. Most places don't have anything. So, but there is a cell service. So there must be, they have to be getting some kind of cell service from a satellite.
Yeah, that's another project. It's
Right.
called Google Fi.
Okay, but let's just stick with that for a second. So what I'm trying to picture for our project, and I'm trying to kind of come up with a budget number here, is if the kids are creating things, and let's just go worst case scenario, the kids have 0 computers. So let's just take that out of the equation. The kids have created things that the teacher can take photographs of, or the teacher could do cell phone videos on, or maybe a couple families have cell phones. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking, I'm trying to kind of get it very, very low key.
Yeah.
So then, in order for the teacher to upload their things onto our interactive map of Canada, they have to have service in order to get them. And I understand, like video is going to take a big amount, but photographs and text and pictures of kids writing, which would be fine as well. The teacher could send them over their cell phone service. Is that
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, they could. And now I don't know how it works in the north, but down here we've got lots of coffee shops.
Yeah, but you see, I know down here it's totally different, but up north, if they don't have anything, the one thing someone said to me is that sometimes the community centers or something like that, the band office or something, they might have something. And so that's where I'm thinking, okay, could the kids go over there and use your system here and use the Wi-Fi service, or I'm learning now you could plug in a MacBook Pro or something if a teacher or a school had one, and then the kids could upload their things on there.
Absolutely.
But if there's nothing, I'm looking like if the teacher has nothing and there's not even any self-service, like then it's all by mail. So I'm trying to think through all the different kind of scenarios.
It doesn't even have to be mail though. If they have a digital camera, they can take the USB card from the digital camera to the band office, and they can upload the images and the work from that card using their computers.
Only if the band office has service. Like there are places that don't have any, period, full stop, nothing.
Then you have to go to snail mail. There would be no alternative.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I'm trying to, because we're going to have to try and explain this to people of here are the different options.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like from zero and you're using snail mail all the way up to high tech that we down here, it's no problem. And I imagine in the big cities in the north, there will be some kind of, like the solutions will be there, but there'll be everything in between.
Yep.
Of places. So I'm trying to picture whether there's some kind of partial step we can take where we get some computers up into some places and hope that Loon is coming and that will push that to happen. But in the meantime, I mean, that getting some computers up there is part of what I'm thinking of. I mean, that's exactly what I was trying to think is how can we get, like I'm buying a new cell phone. Like I'll send them my cell phone, you know, like my cell phone's perfectly good. It's got a camera, it's got all kinds of stuff on it. And even like, that's how I started. I sat down at the ECU conference before it was called BIT. Yeah. And I happened to sit down in 2010 beside the education program manager of BlackBerry. And we got talking, and finally I said, you know how you say, you're like, oh, I should introduce myself. And she's told me who she was. And I was just like, and she said, so what do you do? I'm in a classroom. I'm trying to do what you were saying, right? Like I'm trying to find ways for my kids to connect around the world. And she said, well, I can get you 10 BlackBerries. They don't have a SIM card. So that's how I started. We didn't have, like, we had to, you know, how did we do that? I don't even remember back then how we got the stuff off of them. But we did.
You'll probably plug them into your computer.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, manually. You're right. Yep. The kids would come up and plug it into the computer. And we did phenomenal stuff. So I was thinking, okay, I wonder if we can get, you know, a cell phone for every classroom that doesn't have a SIM card, like at least, you know, get something into these kids' hands where they can then participate in our project. So this is all really exciting.
Absolutely.
I can just really see that there's a lot, and I'm sure we're going to run into other people who are also coming up with creative solutions that we just all, rather than seeing each other competing, we all need to say, you know, that thing of not yes, but yes, and.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So like yours and this and this and this, because when I was talking with Orion, they were very pessimistic about what's happening in the north because of the cost. Yes. And about Cisco shutting down their Connect North project, and just because it's not worth it financially, it's not happening. So we're going to have to be incredibly, and this is incredibly innovative. So that's really, from many perspectives, the whole Cub Linux is really, that's quite amazing.
It's brand new. We just found it this summer. I was, while working with Mike Doyu, he introduced me to it.
Wow.
Because we were using Lubuntu prior to that. And then we had some even older computers that wouldn't run Lubuntu. So we looked for another solution, and he found something called Chromixium, but they discontinued that and they've replaced it with this Cub Linux operating system instead, and it worked great.
So how, like, are we talking PCs only?
No, you can use them. You can use this operating system on any device.
So any old computer.
Yep. Any old computer that you were thinking of, it doesn't work, it's too slow, we can put it on it.
I've just got rid of one, right? Like it sat around for a couple of years.
And you could have made it reborn. You could have used it still.
Like I literally just got rid of it in about middle of July. I thought I can't sit and look at this. I can't deal with it. I'm so busy with this project, you know. So I like, that's just so sad.
Well, I mean,
I've thought of crowdsourcing some of this project, and I'm just thinking there needs to be a way that even like how many teachers, especially in Ontario, like we're a third of the country and we're rich, like comparatively, right?
Yes.
Like just for teachers to know that they could do something with an old computer that they themselves own, or they like that just needs to be, there needs to be a program where those computers from us, not just from businesses, but from teachers and educators, where they go to that, they have a way of getting there. And that's a whole different project I don't have time to deal with, but I certainly want to dovetail that kind of stuff in, because it's just a waste. Like my computer that sat there was not that old, you know, and it was because I needed a bigger, better. It wasn't because, you know, it was dying.
Yeah, yeah.
It was flaky. Let's say it was flaky, but it's going to be reimaged anyways, right?
Well, yeah, as long as the hardware still works, like the battery, the screen, everything is still operational. Just a matter of changing how it communicates, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, again, courtesy of Mike Doyu. Like he's the guy who showed me how to do it and showed me what it was. And Neil Lyons. The two of them are both Peel teachers.
I was going to say, are they teachers? They're Peel teachers.
Yeah, yeah.
Teachers are incredible.
I was going to put up their contacts. But there's one other guy I wanted to tell you about. His name is Jason Elsom.
Now, I've run into him before. He's in Ontario, right? I looked him up this morning, actually.
He's an overseas guy. It's a different Jason.
Okay, different. Okay, so who is this then?
Let me see. Where did I put his contact? I want to get his handle correct. He is in the UK, and we've been doing a very special, like I'm one of the Canadian ambassadors for writing a very special book. It's a global book of us kind of thing. Like,
okay, so is this, okay, so
we've done it
is
for
a
a few years.
Jason Elson, but no, it can't be him because I'm following him already.
Yeah, it's the
He's
adventure.
following us already.
Yeah, Jason does the adventure.org, or what? I can't remember the name of the website. I got to get it again.
Just a minute. Yeah, I've talked with him. Not talked, but Jason Elsom. So he retweeted something this morning.
Well, because your project is very similar to what he does, but his is focused out of the UK. Because in the past couple of years, my class is connected with a classroom in England. And we also connected with other classes in the US, just so that they could interact with each other and get to know each other.
Yeah, I did.
It's a similar idea.
No, it must. Oh, of course, I'm not in the kids guide. Okay, so no, okay, so let me just switch to the kids guide for a sec. Jason.
Adventure 2015, that's it there. So it's called Adventure, Adventure. I'm going to see if I can get the site. Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'm not. Okay.
I just typed in the website, Adventure 16. And his contact is, oh, he changed it. It's at teacher like.
Okay.
So he must have two.
Yeah, I'll have to see what the connection is there. Oh yeah, he has two. And this one has a zillion followers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he, I think this, because a global cultural adventure involving these, I've looked at this stuff before. And so obviously maybe last spring or something, he and I crossed paths and talked. It's just loading up here. Okay, so remind me and explain now how he's been connected with what you're doing?
Well, we connected on Twitter, and he told, like, I saw his project, so I applied to join and have my students involved.
Oh yeah, your picture's there.
Yeah, so he said, would you like to help be a Canadian ambassador for this writing project? So we've been doing it for a few years. It's fantastic. And the students get an opportunity to connect with kids throughout the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's exactly what you're doing as a Canadian nation.
Yes.
Which it's important to start
Yeah.
at home, but can you imagine branching this project with him and making it even bigger as a global project?
Yes.
So we've got to deal with our home issues first.
Yeah, well, that's actually why I probably came up with this project. Is I was connecting with my students. My students were connecting around the world, and after I retired, I knew that this was coming up, and I thought, what would my kids want to do? And I could just hear them saying, Ms. Beach, we can't find any people in Canada to talk to. Why are we talking to New Zealand? Why can't we find people? Now, this was in 2010 and like when it was, we were looking for people across Canada. There's lots of people in Ontario, but they're very hard to find. And we did some mystery Skypes and things like that. But I realized that we had done a lot of global competencies in terms of skills of kids connecting with other cultures around the world, but we had not developed that for connecting with our own cultures in Canada. And that's where Kids Guide to Canada came from, is we need to come down a step and deal with our own country. Yes. And then last spring, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission came out, which was like a total, it is what our project is. So it just strengthened the whole issue even more. But one of the things that I want, that we're putting a committee together, is to develop some material on cultural competencies of connecting with different cultures in Canada, and specifically the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit cultures. Of what are the norms? What are some of, like, my kids? I know that you know this. Like, kids can get really shy when they're doing a Skype or something. But kids who are from First Nations kids, and I work from some here, there is a stereotype that sometimes rings true, is that they're much quieter. Yes. They're much less likely to jump out. And my kids had to learn to be quiet, and not the shyness quiet, but the quiet that silence is fine. That's a real... a lot of our kids are not comfortable in silence, and yes. Waiting in a conversation. They want the conversation to just go, 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 go. So that part is really, I don't want it to be written necessarily by us. I want some of that material. So what happened this morning was Ron was offering me a chance to go to this conference in BC on Indigenous education, and that's just way too many connections and too much learning not to go. So our conversation went longer.
Wow.
Than it went, and then my sister in Vancouver offered to create the airline tickets for me right here and now, because she does all this all the time. So that was why I was late. It was a very exciting reason to be late. So this whole project, meeting people like yourselves and knowing that there's going to be others, and it's just so rewarding. It's just so exciting.
I completely agree.
So challenging. Like, the challenges are really deep challenges. They're not simple. Ron was saying, and I'm debating a whole new direction. Ron was saying that the Indigenous people that he'd been in touch with the last couple of weeks, one in particular conversation he mentioned was he mentioned Canada 150, and there was dead silence. Yeah. And the person said, like, why would any First Nations person in Canada want to celebrate? And we've already run into that in our project. So I'm like, we've already downplayed the Canada 150 component, but we have to play it up in order to reach the mainstream teachers. But I'm thinking, do we even take that out of this?
I think it's important that we celebrate that we're all still one country, and that we need to make amends and make things right.
From their point of view, they're not part of our country.
Well, but they're part of our family then, because we still live together. Part
of our family. That is a good level to go on.
Well,
from our point of view, maybe not from their point of view.
Oh no, we are. From any Aboriginal perspective.
No, they're not.
We're living beings. We're all family.
That from a human. See, that would work from a human. We had quite an experience on Canada Day and a couple of days after Canada Day, where we were targeted with extreme anger and a typical kind of thing you see on social media where someone rants off and goes off the deep end. But it was it was a big learning experience because it really put us back to think of how this is all going to work out. And next year, I'm absolutely certain, from my opinion, that there's going to be a lot of anger and hurt, and Canada 150 will have just as much negative coming out. It's not going to be a thing like our 100th birthday in 1967, because those people have voices now, and they're going to let them be heard.
And I think we need to make the voice even louder, or at least more prevalent, so that they understand that there are many Canadians here who empathize with what's happened, and we want to try and make things right and make them a part of our communities too.
That voice needs to be louder.
Yeah.
But there are people who don't want to even hear. So if Canada 150 is attached to it, they just don't even want to know about it, and they just won't read it. Same way as in Quebec, he was saying, if you send it to certain teachers' federations and different things, it'll never go anywhere. As soon as there's English and this is a connect, like they won't even read it. Like he said, you're not even going to get anywhere. They're, because they're angry and they're separatists and they don't want anything to do with us. So talk about prejudice and needing to get over that kind of thing. There's huge issues. But we're going to do whatever we can, and that is why I like it, that it's a teacher initiative, and your initiative is very much the same thing, as it's using old computers, doing creative things of trying to offer assistance and supports, resources and supports for them so that kids can connect. And if they don't want to connect, that's a readiness factor, right? It's a readiness for learning that in some places is not going to be there. And
yes.
And I read about a community that doesn't want their kids to have anything to do with social media, and that's a whole there's so many issues, right?
No, yeah. I mean, certain cultures may not want to share their stories in using technology.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly. So we're going to put this out. Our project, we're putting it out as an invitation, and we'll just let it grow.
Absolutely.
Organically, starting teacher to teacher, child to child. So
sounds good.
So I'm going to, what time is it? 2:19. I'm going to give Dean O'Malley a call and see if he's even in. And I'm going to mention this to him, and I've got to get these other two things for tomorrow for our application for Canada 150 money. Since we have zero money. We have $163,000 of in-kind and zero cash. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's a story too. So, yeah, we're going to go to the boards, or not the boards, the teachers' federations. Mm-hmm. We went to them once already, and we didn't. To them, we didn't exist. They didn't know what we are, who we are. We have a presence now. People know. Ministry people, politicians, directors, like all kinds of people follow us. So the more we're heard of, I think the more people will give us credibility, and we're hoping, especially in Ontario, that we'll be able to get some kind of minimal amount of cash to pay for things. So this has been really exciting. I don't want to keep you. I've kept you a while, but this is really, really, really innovative and exciting.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I'm happy to talk with you about this and work together, because I want to get it going.
What I think I'm going to do is go back and look into the section on the application. I have a budget item of creating support for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities, and that is part of our request from them. And they have a maximum of $50,000 that we can get now, because for a long story we didn't. Oh, it's such a long story. So I'll just leave it we're limited to that now. That's the last thing they have. But I think I'm going to put in there, I don't know whether to put in partnership or in conjunction or some word with, what's the name of is it Real World Communication? Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, I don't know what else to call it. It's real world because it's all current fact, information, research based. It's not based on old textbooks anymore. All of our classroom work is based on what's going on right now.
That's very interesting, because I never know what to put where I mean 21st century,
Yeah.
because I know people don't like that, but there are people who are at the entry level of learning all about this. It makes sense to them. So,
I mean, 21st century, yes, but I wanted everyone to understand that it's real. It's not historic work. I love history,
yes.
but we're pushing forward, trying to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Based on current problems.
Yes.
So I'm not sure how to word it any other way yet. I've been thinking about it still.
Yeah. 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 Connecting. Real world communication. And it's real in a number. Just the way you're approaching some of the components there. That's a real world. That's not a rich world, a privileged world. That's just real. Like there's some. I like the real world. I think if it's okay with you, I'll mention that we're working with
Sure.
a real world communication project.
Okay. And I still have to pitch this to Google. My application is due in 2 days, so I've got to finish one more component. And then hopefully they'll love it and they'll want me to do work with them.
Boy, they're gonna be hearing that there's good stuff coming out of Canada.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, they have gotten involved with Melissa, and they're giving her all kinds of stuff, and they're promoting her project and doing all kinds of stuff. So they got Google Canada involved, and I set her up with Canadian Geographic. So there's some really cool stuff coming out of. I'm proud to be a Canadian teacher. I'm pretty happy right now.
Me too. This is fantastic.
Yeah, very, very nice. Are you going to be at BIT conference?
Not this year. Actually, what I've been working on is another proposal for a presentation at ISTE.
Ah, ISTE. See, I've never been down to ISTE.
I have never gone either, but I was talking with a superintendent in our board, and we've discussed the possibility of me going this year.
I think, yeah, that would be.
It's so expensive that I have to put all my eggs in one basket, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I've never gone. Because, well, first of all, when you're working, because it's at the stupidest time for Canadians, because we're still working and wrapping up and ending, but also the expense. Where is it next year? Do you know?
It's in San Antonio.
Oh, it's there again.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's. And see, we have no money like to go, and because normally I'd be thinking, okay, should we go and present this there? But we'll have to find some money before we do anything like that.
Well, see,
now I'm more concerned about getting the project to have it exist.
If I can get funding and I can go, I would be presenting this work there. Mm-hmm. Because the idea was presenting the Cub Linux process and how to save old computers, making them new. Mm-hmm. This is what I would want to pitch to ISTE.
Yeah, it's crazy good. It's awesome. That's why I wanted to record this, because the others are going to want to really kind of have listened and to see this. They'll be excited. They'll be excited.
I hope we can make it work. Even on a small scale, I'm already starting to make it work now.
You have, because you connected with the Nunavut teacher what we did was we connected with Brenda Sherry's AQ course, and they were creating, just a minute, webcast. No, they were creating
the profile
screen shares of different tools and how they could be used for this project.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I'm not sure how many we're going to be able to end up using. I wasn't. Like that was not I was working with Brenda, but I wasn't working on the screen shares. So that's how we connected with that woman. And she had some really interesting comments rather to make about the situation of schools in the North and what they have and what they don't have. So that was probably what got me started on how can we use, in a serious way, how can we use this project to find ways of promoting and supporting and advocating for more resources in the North, to the point where, I'm quite prepared to create a crowdsourced campaign or fundraising campaign just by teachers and just say, like, let's create something where teachers can, we can find a way to get, she said that she didn't have art resources. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's crazy,
Yep.
like, and just cell phones with a camera in them just to take pictures. Like, just think of how many devices we toss in Southern Ontario that probably still work, or maybe some things, but the camera and itself, like, there's just so much stuff we waste down here. So
I completely agree. And we need to stop throwing things away because other people can totally use them.
yeah, well, that's what I'm due for a new phone. And this one is flaky. The screen doesn't always, the touch screen part is not consistent, but I just can't picture it breaking down in the middle of all of this. So I need to get a phone so that I have the phone, a working phone, because I do all my work right now, either on this computer I'm talking to you, or my laptop, or my phone. So I can't picture being, it's my lifeline right now across Canada. So like, that's what this project is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All on the phone, where people who don't have computers to talk, I talk with them on the phone, or we talk on computer, which is either or,
Yep.
free on the computer, but you have to have a computer. So this is very exciting. I'm so glad you sent your email this morning. This is exactly the kind of thing I've been looking for, is how can we be creative? So you're way ahead of us.
Well, I'm just trying to do something different every year.
Well, this is quite different. I think you got a winner this time. All right. So what I'll do is I'll share this with the rest of the committee when they come back from their week away. And
Sure.
We'll have to talk again on how we can connect them somehow. And we've asked Lori, right? Is her name Lori? We've asked her if she'd be in the pilot project. So I don't know. Do you have a sense? Like, are you going to try and send her some of the computer?
That's the intent. Yeah, I'm trying to, so keeping it small, starting in my school first. And then if I'm able to get the Loon project on board, even if I can't, I want to send some of the refurbished computers I can get to Lauren's elementary school in.
I don't even want to say it because I can't remember how to say it. I looked it up on a map.
Yes, I love the name. And I thought I said it right last time. Let me see if I can say it right this time.
Yeah.
I feel so bad because it's so important to me. Where did I put it? Yeah, so the intent is to send computers up there if she can help me with the cargo costs, and we can get it covered.
So that will be, like, cargo costs are expensive. So that's where I'm thinking, I wonder if I'm talking with Dino, if he can connect with anyone who would like cover that, or if he could find someone who would be interested in that kind of, so I'll have to ask him.
There's really only one airline that goes up to where the schools are. And she said, she's already sent me messages. Like, we've been texting on and off here. She seems to think that she's able to get someone to cover the cost for it, which is fantastic.
Okay. Because education often gets a buy. So, but people, if it didn't, that's the kind of thing that people would come up with. To them it's small change, right? To get something like that up into the north. So
it's Atagudaluk.
Okay.
Atagudaluk Elementary School. It's in
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
So
alrighty.
It's got to work.
Amazing day. Wow, I've been on talking to people since I don't know what time. Well, you started it at 7, whatever, you were up and busy.
Oh, my day starts at 3:30 or 4.
What? What?
That's when I sent you the email.
What? Yeah, I know, but when do you sleep?
Oh, I get a good 8 hours. I just go to bed when the kids go to sleep.
Okay. Wow. I'm thinking I'm stretching it now because I'm getting up at 6:30 to phone my mom to wake her up, but her phone doesn't work. So it rings, and then I try and Skype her to tell her to go and unlock her door for her PSW. Right? So that's my system because I don't want to go there until Wednesday because she's 94 and she's active, but her phone's broken. And I've ordered her one, but I did not want to drive there this weekend because I have to go back on Wednesday anyway. So I'm thinking 6:30 is really pushing it, but I love being up early.
Well, early bird gets the worm. It
Yeah,
works every day.
All righty. So let's leave it. We'll be in touch. And this is mind-boggling awesome. It's
I agree.
really cool. Really, really cool.
And I'll try and get a hold of Mr. Baines and see if I can work a meeting somehow. I don't know, but I'll do my best.
I think going through his constituency office is the way to go. That makes a lot of sense, eh?
Yeah.
That mind you, he's in a huge, busy place. So
yeah. But I'll try.
I have my MP is Miriam. You know, the one who's 26 and from Syria, Afghanistan. She's the Minister of Democracy and Democratic Institutions. She was the big one in the news. She's a cabinet minister. Miriam. Anyway,
Monsef.
Yeah, Monsef. And I can't get in even here. I've kind of given up on her because I've tried 4 times and I've gotten no response. So at some point, I'm going to put a package together and I'm going to walk in and I'm going to say, I'm going to leave this for her, but
I'm going to try and use media contacts too to see if they can speak with their political contacts and see if there's another way through all of the media mess.
Yep. Yes, every different channel helps and works, and there's a lot of people really interested in this right now. The timing is really, I mean, it's overdue.
Yep. And
because of that, I think people are quite willing to do things. So let me know if anything happens, and I will keep in touch, and we'll try and find ways to continue to work together.
Sounds great.
Oh, nice to meet you.
You too. Take care.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.